Okay, so in this tutorial I'm going to awkwardly explain to you how to get AI zones working. First off, I'm going to show you the map we got here. This is a quickly thrown together map. It's a linear area. It's just kind of corridor fighting, I guess. But, see, we want to have a lot of AI players in this, probably. In your game, you're going to want, well, I guess it depends on what kind of difficulty you're going for, what kind of realism you're looking at, but, well, the Tactical AI Kit is pretty good about performance, but in performance I mean speed and processor load, but it's always good to tone it down a bit, especially if you want to keep a lot of guys in the mission at once. You don't want them all to be active, because that just eats up memory and performance, and you don't want that. So, the idea behind AI zones is to control the amount of AI players that are taking up performance. The ones that don't need to be part of gameplay will be shut off, and the ones that are accessible to the player will be turned on. And I mean that in the... forget it. So to do this, I'm going to quit flying around. We're going to open up the Tactical AI Kit Creator, our favorite, Alt-A. Now go to the Zones tab. I'm already there, but here's what it looks like, you going to the Zones tab. Then you click it. Okay. So, first things first, you're going to want to hit Create AI Zones Group, and that creates a sim group for your game to put the AI zones in. So I'm going to lay click, and if you want, you can go into the console, and you'll start seeing the console spam you with the message, AI Manager, no triggers in the AI Zones group. That means it's recognized that we created the group, but we don't have any zones in it yet. So to do this, we're going to close out of the editor. We're going to go into the big old world editor, pressing F11. So what I want to do is I want to select a section. Well, I'm going to plan out how we're going to do the zones first. We want a zone in this like area here, where I have this yellow selection box, just this little segment. So to do this, I'm going to fly down here, a little farther, and under the Library tab, I'm going to go to Level, double click on the other level, and then I'm going to double click on Trigger. This box comes up. Under Data Block, I'm going to select AI Zone, and then that's about all we need. So we hit Create New, and there's our zone. Now it's a little too small to manipulate right now, so I'm going to change the scale down here in the inspector to 40, 40, 40, just so we have something easy to work with. So I'm going to scale it so it covers that area pretty well. It's always better to cover more than the area than less, but at the same time you don't want to cover too much. So scaling it, use these controls over here if you're completely new to Torque. So, scale it horizontally so it just about covers that little canyon wall. Scale it again. Maybe a little wider. Okay, good enough. So, this is our first zone. And notice when we click away from it, you can't see it anymore, so to fix that, go up to View. This is pretty handy, I just discovered this today. Hit Visibility Layers, and then click next to Render Triggers. Not Render Zones, that's a different kind of zone. Hit Render Triggers, checkbox comes up, and our triggers are now visible. Let's go up to View, Visibility Layers again to get rid of that. So, the game doesn't recognize this as an AI zone yet. I'm going to move this a little farther down because I'm OCD. And so we need to put it in that AI zones sim group. So to do this, I'm going to go up to Scene. And then there's our trigger. There's the AI zones group. I'm going to drag this into the group. And voila. I think at this point we should get less console spam. And we do. So, next up, it's kind of tricky to set up these zones because the idea is that you want to have zones covering each long segment and then each little joint, like in this area here. or here, or here. You just want to put them... It's not exactly the easiest thing to teach, but I promise you'll get a hang of it the more you do it. It's kind of a strategic thing. So I'm going to show you how I set up the zones here, and then maybe you'll see what I mean. I'm going to copy this trigger, this AI zone, and then set it up along this little stretch here. So I'm going to put one in this joint, in this segment, and the corner right here. So I'm going to go to Object, drop Location at Centroid. And now, if I copy paste it, the new copy will be right where the old trigger was. So I can move that out to here. I'm going to scale it. You want it, for joints like that, you want it to cover the corners pretty substantially, but you'll see what I mean. It's perfectly fine for two zones to overlap, by the way, just not by a whole lot, because then things get screwy. But now I'm going to copy that again. I'm going to use Control-C, Control-V this time. I love the keyboard. And that was a mistake. Good thing Torque can actually undo things now. That's handy. Move this out. Just cover that segment. And Control-C, Control-V. And we'll scale it to my liking. Okay, so now that area is set up. Oh, this is so exciting. I need to learn how to sing. That way I can actually entertain myself as I'm working. A little more overlapping. Okay, one last one. CV. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so we have the zone set up in this area. One thing you should get in the habit of is saving. Save all the time. Saving is your best friend. Okay, so now we have all our zones placed. For now, I'm just going to set up this area quickly. And all these zones are not in the AI zones group, so I'm going to go ahead and select them all and move them into it. Okay, now go into the AI Kit Creator, Alt-A, and click on Name Zones. And you can close this up. Save your mission, because it's a cool thing to do. Now you'll see in the AI zones group, every zone is named Zone 0, Zone 1, 2, 3, so on. So, what this tells you is, here's the player, where it's conveniently marked player. Right now we're in Zone 8. So, any AI players within Zone 8, along with the player, since the player's in Zone 8, any AI players in this same zone will be active, and the player will be able to see them, they'll be thinking, they'll be able to be interacted with, but AI players in other zones will be shut off. Now this is beneficial for zones like way over here. I don't see any reason for NPCs in this zone to be active when the player is way over here. But at the same time, you're going to want NPCs in this zone, this one, and maybe this one to be active. So, to do this, we define zone adjacency. What that means is that if I'm in one zone, any zones adjacent to that one will also activate AI players within them. So I'm going to show you what I mean. This is the tricky part, setting up adjacency. This takes some practice, and is a little bit clunky right now. I'll try to work on that for updates. Click Alt-A, press whatever you like, and at the bottom down here you'll see a checkbox that says Set Up Zones. Now click that. Now don't click any zones right now, because that is how I have the adjacency editing set up. So what we're going to do is, I want to set up Zone 8, the one that the player's in. So, or just any zone you decide to start with. So I'm going to click it, and now if you go in the console, you'll see Setting Curse Setup Zone to be 9853. That's this zone here. By clicking it, you're setting it to be the one you want to edit adjacency for. Now after that, I'm going to click individually on each zone that I want it to be adjacent to. So I want adjacency for this zone. Clicked it. Go in the console, you'll see setting zone 8 to be adjacent to zone 0. So that's a good thing. I also want it to be adjacent to zone 1, zone 2, I guess zone 4, and zone 7. So leave these three alone, because since they're kind of out of the way of this zone, you don't really want them to be active. So once I'm done setting up the adjacency for that zone, I'm going to click zone 8 again. And now you'll see in the console resetting curse setup zone. Now, if you want to be able to manipulate a zone again if you want to be able to click on a zone without it setting up adjacency, go ahead and uncheck setup zones. But I'm going to leave it checked right now because let's set up the rest of them. Okay, let's set up zone 0, so I'm going to click it. That's now the zone we're currently setting up, currently editing. So I want that one to be adjacent to this zone. Click it. This one, clicked. Click. 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 And I guess this one. And then all of those zones will be adjacent to this one. So if the player is in this zone, any AI players in any of these zones will be turned on. So I'm done editing, so I'm going to click on zone 0. Now let's go counterclockwise now. Click this one. And that's the one we're setting up. Adjacent, adjacent, click, click, and click. Now I'm done. Hit it. So that's the basic idea. It takes practice. I'm just so used to doing it that I hardly even think about it anymore, but it's all up to you. Yes, it just takes practice. Set up that one. Click, click. But trust me, in the end, it's beneficial to you, because this greatly eases up on the performance costs, I guess. I don't really know how to say that, but it allows the AI to work faster, with not so many unnecessary AI players clogging up the processor. Your game's going to run a lot smoother. Like, I do actually have a level, if you can see that on my YouTube channel, it's called AI Combat 1, I think. That's the one. It has over 140 AI players, but by selectively shutting off the unnecessary ones, I can actually play it without being extremely frustrated by low frame rates, because my computer sucks and actually runs decently, so that's a sign, I guess. Click this zone. Okay, this is the last one. Okay. And I'm done setting up all the zones, so I'm going to uncheck setup zones, and now I can click on these without any more worry. And also, every time you click on a zone, it'll remind you in the console how to activate the adjacency editor, but yeah, you know. Going to save. It doesn't want to let me save as, so I'm going to, okay. I have this one as the empty room, which is wrong, but okay, so I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm going to go ahead and drop spawn markers in all of these zones for AI players, but I'm going to edit it out so you don't have to sit through all that. Cool. Okay, so I spawned a bunch of guys, and now you'll notice that the yellow zone boxes are still up, so I'm going to go into the editor and use the handy visibility layers feature to shut them off. Alright, cool. So I put 20 AI players in this mission, but right now only 12 of them are active. So in every zone we had, there's at least one AI player. But you'll see over here, in zone 3, there's no AI player visible there, because he's shut off. He's inactive because the player's way over here, and he doesn't really matter to us at that area. Same with the guys in here. So I'm going to move into this zone with these guys. Okay. look at that. That's magic. They're there. Because the zone I'm in is adjacent to theirs, and vice versa, so they pop up. And you can test how many NPCs are awake at any given time using the console. Type in NPCs awake, NPCS, and the word awake. Enter. Awake NPCs, 16 out of 20. Let's try it again. 12 out of 20 awake. See, those guys over here, they disappeared. Because from where I'm standing, I won't be able to have any effect on them, really. Now let's witness them popping up. So if I step into their zone or an adjacent one to it, well, there they are. So are the guys here. And the guys along this stretch are gone. So, pretty sure you get the idea. And, so setting up this entire mission, that would leave the guys in this stretch here to be shut off completely until I reach, like, this joint. So when an AI player sleeps, he is no longer rendered, neither is his weapon or any mounted items. He doesn't think, and he isn't processed by anyone else. So, by shutting off an AI player, it's just a temporary, just pause in their existence. That's a great way to say it. So, if you set up your zones right, as you're moving along, you shouldn't be able to see any of them pop into around view. Now this takes practice and is a little tricky in certain missions of yours, but yeah. Also, one thing you'll notice in the AI kit when you fire weapons, if you have all your weapons set up already, if you fire a gun or if you set off an explosion and it's hooked up to alert AI players of that, everyone's still going to notice, even the sleeping NPCs. So, if I set off a huge explosion where I am, even the guys over here, even though they're sleeping, they're still going to hear it, and then once they wake up by me entering a zone or one of their adjacent zones, they're going to react to that. So, you can still alert an entire map, or a very large area, by doing something stupid. And your consequences will never be the same once you get to them. This also works in multiplayer, because there's not just one player in a multiplayer game. It checks through the entire client group, so any other existing human players, here I go again, any other existing human players will also trip other zones and wake up AI players. So, if you have a big open map instead of a linear map with lots of objects to hide the other zones, it'll still turn off AI players by distance. It'll look at the visibility distance of the map, which is saved in, where is that? That's saved in the level info object. You'll see visible distance equals 1000. So any AI players outside of 1000 meters of every player's position will be shut off. And that is how you set up AI zones in your game.